just a nice wine. It goes with a lot of things. It's beautiful with rabbit or your Thanksgiving turkey, sometimes with fish. The Pope used to eat it with eel. I know that's what everybody's going to run out and do right now. So
not the current Pope.
Not
he
the
might
current
have some
Pope.
with some deep dish pizza, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Traveling the world to bring you delicious dishes, tasty beverages, and interesting experiences. This is the Destination Eat Drink Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel podcast for foodies, because the best part of any trip is what you eat. I'm Brent Peterson, and this week we're in Tuscany to visit some hill towns and wineries. We'll also make a trip to the beach and party at a local festival. My guest for this Tuscan excursion is Toni Mazzaglia from Taste Florence. Her company takes hungry and curious travelers to the best spots to eat and drink in Florence, and you can book a tour at tasteflorence.com. Toni talks about Chianti, Montepulciano, and other great places you can visit with tons of recommendations. Plus, where Bilbo Baggins gets his drink on and the Jersey Shore ladies brawling at an Italian winery. She also tells me about day trips to Tuscan beaches and why you need a pair of linen pants. Then we close out with a food festival you can't miss, and I'm starving, so let's eat.
Destination Eat Drink.
Toni Mazzaglia from Taste Florence and tasteflorence.com. Welcome back to Destination Eat Drink. We had a great time talking last week. And as always, you and I, when we start talking, we just keep rolling. So I'm glad you could come back this week to talk more about day trips from Florence.
Me too. Thank you for having me back.
Of course. Always a joy. So last week we talked about some other bigger, maybe the better known places in the region that you can take day trips from. We talked about Lucca and Pisa and Bologna. And if folks want to hear that, they can go back and listen to that episode because it's filled with great stories and lots of recommendations. But this week, let's talk about some other places that maybe aren't as well known. Some of them maybe are. When you and I were talking about doing this, you said you wanted to talk about a place called Chianti Shire. And I was like, okay, I know what Chianti is, and I know what the region is. I know what Chianti wine is. I've never heard of Chianti Shire. Is this where Bilbo Baggins goes to get his drink on?
Chianti Shire is, it's not an official place. It's basically like an affectionate nickname that has been given to a lot of the Chianti Classico area. Because so many expats especially from the UK moved there historically, and then a lot of Americans and Australians, it's pretty much a lot of English speaking expats have moved to that area and fallen in love with it. Some have even bought wineries or married into wineries.
Oh, cool.
Once again, missed my chance, Brent. Like
it's never too late, Toni. Never too late.
Yeah. Just to give an outline within Tuscany, Florence is the capital of Tuscany, and between Florence and Siena, so south of Florence, north of Siena, and they're kind of like, I would say, even like overlapping a little bit, is the Chianti Classico area, the original part of the Chianti production area. That doesn't mean it's the only Chianti, but it's the original. And within that area, you have towns like Greve and Gaiole and Panzano and Strada and Chianti. And all of these towns, of course, are, thriving because of the wine industry, or the production of wine, I should say. And so there's lots of little restaurants you can go to. Of course, the most famous ones being the ones, Dario Cecchini has a bunch of restaurants in Panzano. And those are great, but I encourage you to not only go there because there's so many great restaurants that need your business. And in my opinion, there's plenty of good places to go. So what would I recommend as far as wineries? That's even hard to narrow down, but there's a couple that are really dear to me. Badia Coltibuono. I did used to date a winemaker.
Of course you did.
Who worked at a different winery. Oh, of course. Yeah, my friend Mark refers to it as the Toni Does Chianti era because I dated I dated a winemaker from one winery, and then I dated a chef from a different winery all within like 2 years. So anyway,
nice.
Those were the salad years, Brent. Those were.
Oh man. So you were living well then. I mean,
I lived in a winery.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't write a blog, and my mom's always like, you should have written a blog about it. And she's right. But yeah, I lived in a fantastic winery, but not in the Chianti Classico. It was in Chianti Rufina. And please don't confuse that with Rufino with two F's and an O. That's a last name. That's a winery. Rufina with one F and an A is the smallest part of the Chianti, and it's got the highest elevation. So it has really beautiful freshness and acidity. And in my opinion, they make some of the best Chianti wines. And I'll go ahead and say it. I lived in Selva Piana in Chianti Rufina. That's a whole nother day trip anyone could do. A lot easier, actually. You could even take buses out there or take trains out there. It's near Ponte Sieve. And there's Selva Piana, there's I Veroni, and there's a couple of other. Il Balzo is really good. You need a car for that one.
If you're enjoying Destination Eat Drink, take a moment to rate and review the show on your podcast app. It just takes a moment and it helps other foodie travelers like you find the show. If you want to hear more of my conversation with Toni, then you can become a member of my Substack. Members get access to the full interview where she tells me about a local artichoke festival, a pasta festival, and how Italians keep in shape. Become a member of my Substack at destinationeatdrink.substack.com.
Little known fact, Brent, did you know that I was on an episode of the Jersey Shore?
No, I did not. Please elaborate.
So they were filming season 4 in Florence, and production contacted me and asked me to take just the girls. The guys were going to Sicily to take the girls on a wine tour, and they wanted 3 wineries. And I thought, oh, they're going to get drunk. And they did. So I took them to 3 wineries, Castello del Trebbio, Selva Piana, and I Veroni. And so if anyone wants to see that winery debacle, season 4, episode 10.
Oh
and
my
you will
God.
see me very briefly. I get like a nanosecond of screen time. Yeah.
So funny. Oh my God. What was her name? Snooki getting drunk at Tuscan wineries. Oh my God.
Yeah, basically they got really drunk. They got in a fight at the Veroni. And so at the Veroni winery, that's like a good 10-minute hunk of the episode, because of course that's how they edit where the fights are. And so I Veroni became super famous after that. As usual, I interrupt myself with a whole side story, but back to the Chianti Classico. Badia a Coltibuono, once upon a time, was owned by the same family that owns Selva Piana. So it's really dear to me because I've gotten to go there for private concerts and things, for birthday parties and anniversaries and things. It's really beautiful. And the wine's phenomenal. But then there's also San Giusto a Rentanano. And that San Giusto a Rentanano and Badia al Coltibuono are both near Gaiole. So if you wanted to do a day trip and go to both of those in one day, you could pull it off. Lamole over near Greve. Greve is a great little town to visit. Lots of little restaurants. There's a cute little piazza to walk around and buy a souvenir. There's a wine museum in Greve, which is great because, they have those machines, so you can pay whatever you want, 10, 15, 20 euro, and just taste a bunch of different wines. And that's great if you have someone driving.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just a lot of things to do in the Chianti Classico area. And I've only named not even 1% of them. I mean, there's just lots of stuff. So I would say just do some research, maybe consider, unless you've got someone in your family that doesn't drink, lucky you, make them drive. But otherwise, that's the day you get a driver, because you're going to be drinking a lot of wine.
That's the thing. That's the problem with this. That's why it's always
wine tourism.
It's nice to be able to find a tour of some kind, or be able to find a place where the bus stops right in front of the vineyard or something like that.
Right.
Because you don't want to be the person who gets to drive all your drunk friends around Chianti for a day. I mean,
no,
where's the fun in that? Yeah.
And also, inevitably, you'll get a ticket for driving or a ticket for parking, or there's a million ways to get a ticket. So it's you think you're saving money by renting a car. You're not. You're going to, because also in Italy, they send you the ticket like 2 years later.
Right.
You've forgotten you even went to Italy by the time you get that ticket. I can recommend, there's several good wine tours, but I can recommend one in particular because I used to work for him. It's called Tuscan Trails, and he's reputable. He's a sommelier. He uses licensed drivers. So you can contact and do his kind of pre-designed, or he can also do private tours for people if they have specific places they want to go.
Yeah. Okay. So people have heard of Chianti, and I don't know if they've ever heard of Pienza. What can you say about that?
So Pienza is this just amazing little hill town going towards Montepulciano, Montalcino areas. So it's a little bit further of a drive where Chianti, you can drive 30, 45 minutes out of town and you already hit a winery. To get down to Montepulciano, you gotta get up early. You gotta be in the mood. And it's gonna be a good hour and a half to get down there, unless you drive super crazy. And but it's totally worth it. It's a gorgeous area. It's a hill town, so you don't want to try to take a train there or a bus because you'll still get dropped off somewhere weird. I recommend taking a car down there. And what's great about Montepulciano, before I actually talk about the town, I want to straighten something out. There's a wine called Montepulciano di Abruzzo. That is a wine from Abruzzo. And in that case, the grape is Montepulciano and it's coming from Abruzzo. Totally different ballpark, okay? We're talking about a town named Montepulciano, same word, unfortunately, Montepulciano, and they produce red or rosso di Montepulciano and vino nobile di Montepulciano. So, and they're Sangiovese-based wines. So totally different thing. You could also, because it's nearby, you could go to Pienza, and in Pienza, you can just have a nice little walk. It's this tiny little town. I think you actually asked me about it 5 minutes ago and I got sidetracked. So always, right?
That was how we started this.
You just know. You're like, I've got my little fishing pole.
We always find our way back, Toni. We always find our way back.
So Pienza is an ideal hill town to visit if your mobility isn't great because so Montepulciano, you're walking up and down some hills. You got to be in shape. I'm not joking about that. Start doing the Stairmaster before you get to Italy. Pienza, you can park outside of Pienza. And even though you're on top of a hill, it's like they sliced the top of the hill off and built the town. So it's flat and it's small. It's walkable. It's, you could easily see most of Pienza in a couple hours. And as you walk down the main drag there, you're going to smell cheese in the air. There's all these cheese shops and it's all sheep's milk cheeses, pecorino cheeses. But I'm not talking about pecorino romano. I'm talking about I can't even tell you, hundreds of different types of cheese made with sheep's milk, ones that have ashes on the outside and ones that have chestnut leaves and ones that have been dipped in beeswax and ones that have hot pepper flakes inside. The sky is the limit with what you can do with sheep's milk. So I really want everyone to get to know pecorino better if they haven't already, because it goes so far beyond pecorino romano that we can find at the grocery store. So there's so many other pecorini to try. And if you wanted to see it being produced in the countryside outside of Pienza, kind of halfway between Pienza and Montepulciano, is a producer called Cuguzi. And Cuguzi, if that sounds a little not Tuscan to you, you're correct, because it's actually a Sardinian last name. And Sardinians are famous for being the best of all producers of pecorino. The pecorino sardo is just, there's nothing like it. And so here you have the best of both worlds. You've got these Sardinians that have moved to Tuscany. They've got the sheep's milk. They've got the Tuscan terroir. They've got the Sardinian know-how. Bing, bam, boom. Yeah. You got some great pecorino cheese. And that's a place you can visit and you can schedule ahead of time and take a tour, maybe even see it being produced. And at that point, you're really close to a fantastic winery called Salchetto. So that it's one of the few wineries. Well, there are some out in the countryside, but one of the ones out in the countryside that I say are definitely worth going to visit because it's so unique. And they it's a historic winery, but they took it and revamped it about 15 years ago. And they're doing as little carbon footprint as possible. So the wine, for example, is moved around by force of gravity instead of electricity. The rooms are all lit by natural sunlight with these cool things they've got up on the roof that look like UFOs that suck the light in and reflect it with mirrors and stuff. It's hard to describe. You just have to see it, because even though the building is very modern, the wines, some of them are experimental, but a lot of them are that traditional nobile of Montepulciano, and they respect the traditions and they respect the terroir. And they also produce honey, and they have a fantastic restaurant. So it's another place you could go do a tour, have a tasting, and have a great meal as well. And then I'll just name one other specific winery that they actually are in town of Montepulciano, and that's Contucci. It sounds like Cantucci, which would be the biscotti, but it's Contucci, Contucci. They are one of my favorite producers of Montepulciano, like old school producers.
There's lots more food and travel at destinationeatdrink.com. I just published a brand new food and travel guide to Bologna, Italy, one of the world's great foodie cities. There's the famous ragu bolognese, a drink for a queen, tortellini, and my favorite street food in all of Italy. Read a free excerpt of this guide at destinationeatdrink.com/blog, or get the whole thing by downloading the ebook at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink. I also posted a brand new video. This one's about living the car-free lifestyle in Portugal. There's pros, there's cons, and I show you all of them. Watch me literally dodge cars in the crosswalk by clicking on the video tab at destinationeatdrink.com or by going to my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@destinationeatdrink946.
Any other wine towns or cities that we should be sure and visit?
Yes, I almost forgot. I'm so glad you asked. San Gimignano. And when you see it on paper, you're going to be like, huh? Most people can't pronounce it. My mom says San Chimichanga. My mom kills Italian. It's so bad. So San Gimignano. It's got the GN. It's going to mess with your head, but this Gimignano. San Gimignano produces a white wine called Vernaccia, and it's actually one of the most important whites of Italy. It's the most important white of Tuscany for sure. And Vernaccia di San Gimignano, it's just a nice, light, crisp, little bit of minerality, a little bit of almond. It's just a nice wine. It goes with a lot of things. It's beautiful with rabbit or your Thanksgiving turkey, sometimes with fish. The Pope used to eat it with eel. I know that's what everybody's going to run out and do right now. So
not the current Pope.
Not
he
the
might
current
have some
Pope.
with some deep dish pizza, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember which one it was Pius something, one of the Pius. And it's hard to keep track because the names are all so similar. But yeah, one of the popes, we're talking back in the time of Dante. This was like in Dante's writing, would have the eel with the Vernaccia. And it's also, so they're famous for Vernaccia. They're also famous for pottery. And it's a beautiful little hill town that has a bunch of towers. Right now it only has, I'm going to say something like under 50 towers, but back in the day, there were hundreds of towers that belonged to all the noble families.
Right,
and basically that was how you would spite your enemies. You would knock down their towers back in the day. So a lot of them got knocked down in different battles. But if you're coming up on the horizon, there's two towers. It almost looks like the Twin Towers. It's kind of crazy when you see it from far away. Yeah.
Wow.
And it is a beautiful town. And that part of Tuscany, they use brick instead of stone. So it's a lot of brick, which I also love because I guess it's my East Coast, something in my DNA, my American part of me, like loves a brick. So San Gimignano, it's beautiful. There's plenty of great food. There is a little place I haven't been since way before the pandemic. So Google it and make sure that the ratings are still good. But it's called Kiribiri, Chiribiri, Kiribiri. It's in town. Back in the day, some of the best meals I've ever had, but I'm talking a good 10 years ago was the last time I went because I just haven't been back and eaten in San Gimignano in a while.
Is there a winery there that you particularly like?
Pietrafitta. So like most places, the wineries aren't in town, but there's one that's like when you're on your way into San Gimignano. There's another town that my mom loves to say. It's Poggibonsi. She says it perfectly because it's like easy to say, and she just loves to say it over and over. Poggibonsi. And Poggibonsi is part of San Gimignano. My mom's a character.
Gotta have her on the podcast.
Oh. Buckle up if you have her on a podcast. It would be interesting. Oh, my mom. So yeah, Poggibonsi is kind of like just outside of San Gimignano, and somewhere between Poggibonsi and San Gimignano is Pietrafitta, and they make some of my favorite Vernaccia, and it's a great place to go for a tour. And historically, when Italy went from supporting Mussolini and supporting the Nazis, and they changed their mind. And then all of a sudden, Italians were going into concentration camps. And so I actually have dated two different guys whose grandfathers, one escaped and one actually ended up in a concentration camp.
Wow.
Italians. Yeah.
Right.
So
crazy.
And the one that escaped hid in that winery of Pietrafitta. They saved his life. Mm-hmm. So he brought me there. That's how I discovered that winery.
Wow, that is so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amazing history.
It's pretty crazy when you think about, there's a lot of wineries, a lot of places in the countryside that, like kind of like an underground railroad, basically, that helped save people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the Italians do it in their wineries, I mean, because you got those big cellars, so you've got space there,
Lots of
right?
hiding places, lots of places to hide a person. Yeah.
Yeah, secret places.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so
Mm-hmm.
cool. Great
Mm-hmm.
recommendations. You always come through with the recommendations, Toni. I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's great. All right, so that's wine. So we've done our wine tourism.
Right.
Florence is inland, so we're not on the water. Where would we go if we wanted to have like a beachy type day?
You can go to Forte dei Marmi. So Forte dei Marmi is a fancy schmancy seaside town. It's where the who's who of the Milanese, the people of Milan, the wealthy Milanese, like to vacation there. And it is famous for having, other than having these huge beaches with the ombrelli, where they have the umbrellas set up and you pay for your umbrella.
And the
If
sun
you're a
chair.
regular, you have your own umbrella, you've got the front row umbrella for your family and everything. But as a visitor, you can rent an umbrella for the day, and almost every stabile, I don't even know how to say that in English, but each part of the beach, like one's named, Nettuno, and the other one is Venere or whatever. And they're owned by different people, and each place has its own little restaurant or a little, food bar. Gotta love Italy. You can always have a good espresso, even while you're sitting on the beach.
At the beach, yeah.
At the beach, and it's like it's a euro, and it takes 25 seconds, like it's supposed to. So don't get me started. So basically, Forte dei Marmi, you go for the beach, but you also go for the Wednesday market. So if you've got plenty of time and you're a shopper, and I'm not even a shopper, Brent. If I can't eat it, I'm generally not interested in it. However, the market in Forte dei Marmi has amazing stuff, and they have beautiful like caftans and beach outfits and linen and pajamas and like beautiful stuff for men. And I'm just going to make a public announcement. Men, you just need to start wearing more linen pants. You look good in them. Do it for us. So linen pants, baby. Why aren't you doing it? So you go to this market. Do you have any?
I don't know what I have, Toni. Karen does all my shopping for me.
Okay.
And it's like what she brings, I wear. If it fits, I wear it. And it's like, I hope you like it, because this is what I'm going to be wearing for the next 10 years,
Well, ask her if you have any linen pants.
Okay.
And I'm not going to push it because she's got to like them. You know what I mean? But yeah, Forte dei Marmi, you get all the linen. You're looking smooth. You're feeling good. You're looking at all these gorgeous people. The Italians are going to be so tan. You're going to be like, how do they do that? I think they start in March, I'm just sticking out like a mozzarella in the crowd. So that's a great place to go for a day trip because, you don't want to try to sleep there because it's not going to be cheap. Okay. Now, if you wanted to go to somewhere that's more affordable, but still has lots of stuff to do, and you can get to by train, Viareggio. It's more casual, but it still has big beaches. You can use the public beach or rent an umbrella. Lots of restaurants to go to. You can, of course, have some great fish. But my favorite thing to get in Viareggio is the budino di riso. And the budino di riso it's a breakfast pastry. It's a little rice pudding pie. And if you're not into rice pudding normally, don't let it scare you, because this is not your grandma's rice pudding. It's so
not
good.
Tapioca.
Okay. Yeah, it's not tapioca. It's not slimy. Generally speaking, there's no raisins. Sometimes they'll put them in, but they'll let you know. So it's like next level in Viareggio. They make them almost like a little deep dish. They have this crust, and they're just so good. And there's places that compete with each other. And I mean, I've gone to like the top three places. Oh, they're really good. And they have lots of outdoor seating because you're just one street in from the beach. So you're sitting out, it's easy breezy and the sun's shining on you and you're eating a budino and you're having a great coffee and life is good. So that's my recommendations for Viareggio. Really, there's not a whole lot other than beach and eat. I'm sure there's other stuff. There's probably like famous shopping I don't know about, but that's, again, I don't care because I can't eat it.
So so we were just in Nice, and Nice has, it's gorgeous. It's so beautiful there. And the promenade is one of the best in the world, but the beaches are pebbly. They're rocky. What are we talking about here at Viareggio? Is it Sandy Beach?
Viareggio is sand. Yeah. So because I grew up in North Carolina, I am, I prefer sand. I want sand in my toes. I want it all over me. I want the sand. And for me, if there's no sand, I'm not going to say it's not a beach, but it's not relaxing. I don't want to have to like wobble around on pebbles or climb over a sharp rock and dive in through slimy stuff. I know I'm going to sound ignorant, but I just give me some sand. So these are everything I'm recommending has sand. But if you go to in between the places I'm recommending, you'll find the scogli, which are the cliffs. You'll find pebbles. Like when you go to Elba, there's a lot of pebbles on the beach, and Elba's gorgeous. It's an island. That's a whole other episode. I do have one more sandy beach.
Okay, great.
We continue south. And south of Livorno is San Vincenzo. San Vincenzo, that's actually where I love to go in the summer. Up until 2 years ago, I'd found a place on the beach. It was awesome, and she sold it. And I used to be able to go stay on the beach, which is really rare in Italy. Property on the beach is not easy to come by. And San Vincenzo, if you go south of San Vincenzo, like just even walking on the beach, the further south you go, the more wild and natural the beaches are. So there aren't a whole bunch of umbrellas set up. There are some, but there are lots of places where you can just go and enjoy the beach and the surf and not have, a restaurant and like bad, loud music. It's always bad, loud music. It's never good, loud music. So it's, if you like just a natural beach, that's what I recommend, is going all the way down to San Vincenzo and the few beaches that are south of that. I'm forgetting the names, but you'll see it on the map. All the way down into the Maremma, which is further south. You're kind of on the border there. And you're near Bolgheri at that point. So at that point, you can still get some wine, go to Bolgheri and have some Super Tuscans.
Perfect. This sounds like that sounds like my speed. That would be the place that I'd like to go. I also like going off season. We were in like Pescara in Abruzzo, and
beautiful.
And I love Pescara. It's so underrated. It's so criminally underrated. And the beach there, they were having a beach volleyball tournament, and it's like, because they've got a gorgeous beach there. But this was in the off season. This was, I don't know, May, I think. And the beaches were empty. Nobody was out. Nobody was out there.
Because it's for them, because the Italians are still wearing puffy coats and scarves in May. It's too cold for them. So that's when you want to go. Good. I'm glad you brought that up. I used to go the last week of May, because really the summer season, the beach season kicks off after that June 2nd holiday. So I would always get that last cheap weekend. And sometimes it would be rainy and cold, and sometimes it would be beautiful. But I had the beach all to myself, and I loved it. Yeah.
And if you go to Pescara, it's not a big city, but it's big enough and there's great food there. It's amazing. Oh. There's coffee roasters there. Yeah, I had some amazing coffee there. There's amazing pastries there. It's great, and
I need to go back.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's so good. It'd be a bit of a trip from Florence, but you can do it in a day trip. That's for darn sure.
No, I'd have to go sleep there.
So you're based in Florence, of course, Toni, and we're talking about day trips from Florence. And this time of year, we're starting to get into festival season. Yes, so a lot of people love coming to Italy to enjoy the festivals because they're so fun, and a lot of them are food-based. What's going on this time of year?
So May, June, July, you're going to find some festivals, especially like that you could get to easily from Florence. There's a bunch of wild boar festivals that I love. One is in Monte Bonello. Another one is in Certaldo. And then there is my favorite of all, the Cherry Festival in Lari. Lari is not far from Pisa. And so it's like halfway between Florence and Pisa. And the Cherry Festival, basically it's this town. It's another hill town situation. But the festival is kind of right outside the wall. And the festival is your classic Sagra food. So like a Sagra is a food festival that celebrates a specific ingredient, but then they'll always have grilled meat, some vegetables, and then maybe some dishes that actually feature the ingredient, right? So in this case, you can get, my favorite thing to get at a Sagra is the grilled ribs, the rosticciana. And then they started making things. The last time I went, they had a tagliata di manzo. So the grilled sliced beef on the bed of rucola, and then they had fresh cherries, and it was so good. Yeah, it was so good. I went there with Amy.
Amy Maldonado. Amy. Yeah,
she's one of my Sagra accomplices. And so that festival, you go and you eat in the tents, and then, but before you go to the tent, the first thing you do is you go up into town, because then they have all these little stalls set up, people selling all their fresh cherries, cherry vinegar, cherry liquor, cherry muffins, cherry jelly. But there's one stall. It's all of the, I want to say it's all the grandmas of Lardy. I'm not sure exactly who they are, but it's a whole lot of women, and they make cherry fritters. And the line is nuts. So you go and you get your number before you go down and eat your meal. And that way, when you get back, right when they start frying it, you're already in the first 10 or first 20, and you're not standing there like a biscotto, as an Italian would say, as a Florentine would say. You're not standing there like a biscotto, like a fool, because you knew to get your number first. So I almost every year I go, I get like one of the first numbers, because I know this. I figured out how to game the system. You know?
Beat the system, yeah.
I beat the system, yeah. And you go and you get, and they usually it's 3 of these fritelli di ciliegie in a cone, and they're almost like a donut hole. They're cakey, and they have fresh cherries in them, and then they just like roll them around in sugar.
Oh, so
and then they
good.
serve it to you in a little paper cup. Yeah, they're good.
I'm a huge cherry fan, because
me too.
When I was a kid, our parents would take us up to northern Michigan every summer for 2 weeks. And this part of Michigan in the northwest corner is the largest producer of cherries in the country. Yeah. And you would drive around and there's just cherry trees weighted down. And people would have their honor boxes at the end of their driveway with just bags of cherries and apricots. But
and apricots too.
Yeah, they have this huge cherry festival, and there's cherry wine, and there's cherry vinegar, and there's cherry jam, and there's cherry pies. And the last time I was in the U.S., my brother went there last year. And the last time I was in the U.S., he gave me a bag of dried cherries to take home with me. And oh, they're so good in the morning. A little handful of those. That sugar goes straight into your brain and picks you up. Oh my God. Oh yeah. Toni Mazzaglia, thank you so much for being on the show. As always, it's always a great conversation with you. Folks should look you up at tasteflorence.com. And if you're going to Florence, do the food tour with Toni. You will have an amazing experience. There's, no one knows more about it. She's curated all these places. So no one knows more about the cuisine of Florence than Toni does. Thanks for being on the show. It's always a delight. And I'd love to have you back again sometime. We'll stay in touch, I'm sure.
Volentieri. Bene. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. That's Toni from Taste Florence. Always tons of info and great laughs when Toni's on the show. Book a tour at tasteflorence.com. There's also a link in the show notes. Next week, satay made with lion's mane mushrooms, Ketwurst in East Berlin, and the Alley of Treats in Mumbai as we check out some of the world's best street food. Plus, an amazing Indian restaurant in a gas station. So maybe that's more road food. Either way, subscribe to Destination Eat Drink so you don't miss that. Destination Eat Drink is distributed by the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and Ed Silla. Thanks, Ed. I'm Brent Peterson, and I'll see you down the road.
Join us next week for another culinary adventure on Destination Eat Drink, a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.